What's up, Patreon family? This is your girl Megan from the HoodAstroQ coming to you guys with yet another set of celebrity birth chart readings. This time on none other than PJ Washington and Brittany Renner. Now, if you are not familiar with these two individuals, PJ Washington, also known as Paul Jermaine Washington Jr., is an American professional basketball player for the Charlotte Hornets, okay? Most recently, however, he's been in the press because of his failed relationship with girlfriend Brittany Renner. Now, Brittany Renner, on the other hand, is an Instagram model, IG thought, whatever you want to call her, but she's been in the game for a minute, and she's been sexually linked to a lot of athletes, a lot of different celebrities, entertainers, and has gone publicly to write a book about some of these encounters, as well as doing live streams talking about how easy it is to trap athletes. So a lot of people, needless to say, already regard her and hold her in a certain light. Now, I don't necessarily agree with the concept of automatically devaluing people that we deem to be hoes while simultaneously lifting up the men who sleep with them, okay, which seems to be a trending theme just in society in general. But in all fairness, she has made her intentions very well known, just in terms of her habits and how she tends to go about things and the kind of guys that she deems to be attractive and, just how she moves. And because of that, right, a lot of people were looking at PJ kind of crazy after he got with her. And the two ended up having a child together. Now, after the child turned 2 weeks old, Brittany broke up with PJ. And recently it was alleged that he actually has to pay her $200,000 a month in child support. Now, once again, the entire world is laughing at PJ because people are thinking, wow, you idiots. How could you have a child with this woman, this whore, this lady of the evening, so to speak? All of her intentions should have been clear as day. And really, the first chance she got, the baby wasn't even completely out of the uterus yet. I mean, the umbilical cord hadn't even completely dried when she left this man. And now he's stuck with the child support bill. And I mean, honestly, she took a handbook or a play out of the, baby mama handbook where a lot of these women are getting pregnant by rappers and basketball players and other athletes. I personally don't really feel bad for the men in the instance because, I mean, everybody knows if you don't want kids, wrap it up. And also the same way that women are told to pick better when these kind of things happen to us and we just so happen to end up with deadbeat baby daddies, I feel like these men should have to pick better. Now, another little nuance to the story that could make a difference is that there is a significant age gap between PJ and Brittany. And legend has it that while PJ was even still in high school, Brittany Renner sought him out and would start attending his games. And the minute he turned 18, they began messing with each other right away. And so a lot of people even feel like Brittany groomed him. They feel like this was a very predatory thing, which makes it a lot more sinister. And I actually agree because if it were in reverse, right, a lot of people would be talking about this man, this grown-ass man who's attending high school games, trying to pick out, the girl that he liked, to hop on the minute she turned 18. It's very weird vibe. So I can't really lie about that. But I did want to get into their natal charts individually. Just because I thought they were kind of interesting and they were very telling in terms of this situation. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. We're actually going to start with Brittany. Now, Brittany Renner was born on February 26, 1992 in Ocean Spring, Mississippi, which places her sun at the 7th degree of Pisces. Now, as a Pisces, she's a heavy Pisces because that 7th degree is ruled by Neptune. So these are women who often like to be taken care of by men. In many instances, you have Pisces women who don't like to work hard. So if they could take shortcuts or cut corners in order to get to where they want to go, because mind you, a lot of these women also have very big dreams, right? They could be really big dreamers, people who have a lot of thoughts and wishes for what they want and ideas that they have for themselves and for life. But you have the ones who are a lot more even materialistic, or ones who could be enamored by the glitz and glamour that life has to offer. And then you have the ones who may be a lot more spiritually centered. Brittany, from how she displays herself to the world, seems to be the former type. And so the more materialistic Pisces, the way that they would go about achieving a lot of their dreams, right, making their dreams come true, would be through the men in their lives. Now, this could set a lot of them up for disappointment, because you do have the type that attract men who they can never really rely on, or men with whom they have to end up helping out. But you also have the ones who do a really good job at finding men to leech or mooch off of. Pisces could also be the sign of the moocher. So reinforced with her sun at that 7th degree. Now, it just so happens that her sun is forming an opposition to Jupiter at the 9th degree of Virgo. And this actually suggests and reinforces this dynamic of her needing to be with someone who is willing to help her. Almost, I get the idea of being saved, right? They can make excellent damsels in distress and can attract men who kind of want to save them. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Don't save her. She don't want to be saved. Those kind of vibes, right? But another way you could even look at this, as if we flip the dynamic around, this could deal with a woman grooming a man, where he could be kind of gullible and she feels compelled to help shape and mold him and help make order of what he has going on. Which is also very interesting, considering that when you take a look at PJ's chart, my man's is actually a Pisces South Node. So technically, Brittany's sun is conjoined to his South Node. And you know what I always say about Sun South Node aspects in synastry. They're a recipe for disaster, simply because the sun individual triggers a lot of that karmic debt for the South Node person. And so this person ends up being more of a liability. It could create lots of attachments, unhealthy attachments. That's what our South Node represents, unhealthy emotional attachments. And in this particular case, with Brittany's sun conjoined to PJ's Pisces South Node, it could deal with where she's actively capitalizing on a lot of his naivety, on his sense of just being downright gullible. A lot of Pisces South Nodes can find themselves trapped in situations, or just caught up in situations that they don't necessarily want to be in. And with the sun dealing with children, you could look at this conjunction as also indicative of her putting a baby on him, quite literally, where she could have sold him a dream, a fantasy, or disguised herself to be a certain way, or pretended to be a certain way, or lured him into a certain space where they were able to, procreate, have a kid, and then just got over on him, right? There could have been a lot of lies, deception, trickery, and honestly, it's giving scam vibes. She scammed him. She conned him. I mean, it's not funny. It's really sad, but it's just interesting how literal this can be. And then on top of that, this could even be echoed by the fact that PJ's Virgo moon is forming an opposition to his Jupiter at the 25th degree of Pisces. So this is a man who already has major abandonment issues. And that's another way that you could look at that, as Brittany and a lot of what she did further re-inflicting those issues upon him. Because in many cases, these are people who may have been adopted. This could be a man whose mother, maybe she wasn't really present. Maybe she was a drug addict. Maybe there are some deeply, emotional issues. Maybe he didn't live with her. Whatever the case may be, right? Feel free to fill me in on any of his background. Even emotionally, if the mother was there, she could have been very negligent. And so he does have a lot of these abandonment issues that she definitely triggered up by, because you could even look at that Pisces energy as disappearing, right? Her doing the disappearing act. So her son conjoined to his south node, her, enticing him and then dipping when the going gets tough, right? She really was a con artist. She pulled the wool over his eyes. And as a Pisces South node, he has a lot of karma tied into that. These are people who can also find themselves, once again, just attached to situations or trapped where they're rendering themselves powerless or making themselves victims to other people, where they could just naturally lack discernment. They could be suckers for sob stories, or feeling like a woman needs him and he wants to hop in and be her knight in shining armor, or he just becomes so enamored with her that he just don't know up from down. And even with him being a Virgo sun, he has his sun at the 0 degree of Virgo conjoined to his north node. He really struggles with that. And a part of him may complain about his relationships or complain about the situations that he finds himself in with women, but it's hard for him to fully get away and break away from that karmic cycle, that pattern. In fact, these are men who are also very likely to be Captain Save-A-Hoes just because they want to feel needed, right? Not to mention, Virgos could also have a very shaky sense of self-confidence. Virgo men, they could be very insecure. Then on top of that, he does have a Leo stellium, which includes his Mercury, Venus, and Mars, which could also reinforce him being incredibly naive. These are people who can have a very childlike kind of innocence. And as a Leo Venus, right, a lot of how these men choose partners is based on really superficial type stuff. They can attract women who are very much like arm candy, eye candy. They can have very superficial standards when it comes to women. And so being attracted to a woman who, Brittany's a very attractive woman. It also put him in a situation, even from very early on, where he could have been really smitten by her. Him being a young kid and just being really smitten by this woman. And next thing you know, he's wide open. So his chart has all the makings of a sucker. Like, he has the chart of a quintessential simp. And with his moon in opposition to that Jupiter and Pisces, you could tell he put all of his trust in her. All of his trust in her. That's really sad. I also wanted to point out the fact that his Venus is squaring Chiron at the 13th degree of Scorpio. And for PJ, this could actually deal with him being on the hook for all of that child support, where he's dealing with a woman and he has to fork over a lot of that money, where he could be used or accustomed to be in very codependent and or toxic relationships. So that right there is another really troubling sign. And then his Venus is forming in opposition to Uranus in Aquarius, which is another reason why, he could be someone who has a difficult time maintaining relationships, right? This could deal with literally Brittany leaving him. This could deal with him being in relationships that could come to screeching halts like that, where it's going to be very hard for him to find himself in a steady, long-term, harmonious situation. Now, that opposition could also deal with him attracting women who could be very perverted, or women who may, be of that type of persuasion. I'm not even going to lie to you, which if we double back over to Brittany's chart, okay, because I kind of got sidetracked there, right? We started talking about Brittany and then veered over into PJ. But when we weave it back into Brittany's chart, she just so happens to have her Venus conjoined to her Mars in Aquarius, okay? And then on top of that, she has that Venus and Mars also forming a conjunction to Saturn at the 12th degree of Aquarius. And not for nothing, these are the makings, astrologically speaking, of a person who can have kind of like perverted interests, like, when it comes to dating and things like that. I'm not gonna lie, because I would have kept the same energy had it been a man. So I'm gonna keep it a buck. Brittany might have some ways about her, But also that Aquarian energy deals with this ability to, especially with Venus at the 10th degree of Aquarius, almost devalue people, where, you know, a lot of Aquarian based women or women with lots of Aquarian energy are all about what they can get out of a situation. And if people don't really make their lives convenient, especially with her Venus conjoined to Mars in Aquarius, she won't really have that much time or that much energy for you. So despite her being a Pisces sun, right, and Pisces are known for being charitable and benevolent and loving and kind and compassionate to a fault, with this Aquarius stellium, she's definitely somebody who can, don't get it fucked up, can still be very, very cold-blooded, cold-hearted, and really, you know, uncompromising when it comes to the things that she wants. You know, this could even mean taking or dating a man who may not be fully available, even if he's taken or in a relationship. These are people who are going to make sure they get theirs no matter what. Especially with, once again, Venus conjoined Mars in Aquarius. Aquarius is the sign of disloyalty. So there's that, you know, and they're not really bound by emotional attachments. She also has her Mars forming in opposition to her Chiron at the 4th degree of Leo, which also further reiterates and reinforces this idea of her being drawn towards younger guys, younger boys, where she could, especially with that 4th degree, that number 4 could also deal with pervertedness as well. But it could also deal with an unhealthy obsession towards, like, I guess you could say celebrity men. And she's been very vocal about how she's been, you know, loving celebrity men and been fucking celebrities. So I thought that was kind of interesting. And even with her Saturn conjoined to Mars and Venus, you know, it's all about, once again, convenience, what I can get out of it. And, you know, these are people who could take a very opportunistic approach to relationships as well. So when you add all of these together, it's just a recipe for everything that happened. She's also a Sagittarius moon, with her moon squaring her Mercury at the 19th degree of Pisces, which definitely echoes a lot of that Pisces sun energy. So once again, I'm pretty sure she might be a liar, or intuitively, I feel like she could even be gaslighting PJ in terms of the reason why they didn't work out romantically. And then taking it back to PJ's chart, he has his Virgo sun squaring his Pluto at the 5th degree of Sagittarius. I definitely fear that his relationship with this kid will definitely be in jeopardy as time goes on. Because anytime you have situations where, or a lot of instances in where you have situations where a woman secures a baby for a check, you know, even if the man is on the hook financially and child support wise, that doesn't guarantee that they have a healthy and solid relationship. And I believe there has even been an article at this point anyway that stated that PJ claims that she won't let him see the kid. But either way it goes, his son in Virgo square his Pluto at the 5th degree of Sagittarius could deal with him resenting the kid. It could deal with him even requesting or having a blood test done, you know, or DNA test perhaps done on him and the kid, or to make sure that's really his kid. There may have even been an issue that was called into question at some point. Also, as a Leo Mars, I just, you know, naturally see him having a hard time, even with his Mars squaring Saturn and Taurus. That's also another aspect that can call for some really heavy child support fees. But it could also deal with where his relationship with his kid could be somewhat challenged as, you know, the kid gets older. In fact, he might grow to be one of those dads who feel like, you know, I'm paying a child support, or, you know, you owe me, or I paid child support, I took care of you financially. What else do you need? What more do you need? You know, those type of parents. And a lot of that is going to come from that level of resentment as well, which, you know, taking it back to Sun square Pluto. So really, this is just a horrible situation in general. I really hate it for this man. And like I said, I wish more people were talking about the entirety of it and really highlighting the age difference, because there are a lot of predatory themes that were encapsulated in this. Themes that I feel like, had the roles been reversed in terms of gender, more people would talk about it. But anyway, I didn't want to make this too long of a video, but I did want to touch on some of the major themes that I noticed in regards to this situation in their charts. So y'all drop down in the comment section, let me know what you think about this entire situation, and I will holler at y'all in the next video. Bye.